Hi, friends. So today we're going to read a story called Don't Feed the Monster. Now, on the inside cover, it says, "But if you see a monster, now you will know that screaming and hollering just make it grow. So think of a joke, laugh as loud as you can. If you don't feed the monster, you'll ruin his plan." Look at this monster. Does this monster look scary or cute? I think this monster looks cute with his little heart cheeks. Oh. One day, Billy Monster, to his great surprise, found out he'd won the most fabulous prize, an awesome new home to live in and share with his very own kid to pester and scare. But when he got there, he started to pout, and all his excitement turned into doubt. Who would be frightened of someone like him, looking all puny and not mean or grim? This monster doesn't look very scary, does he? When his tutor came, Billy said with a frown, "I must be the wimpiest monster in town." But the tutor replied with his knowing grin, "If you wish to grow, well, soon you'll begin." This is kind of like his monster teacher. Something important you simply must know. Frightening children is how monsters grow. Just scare him a little at bedtime each night. A poke or a whisper to give him a fright. That night in the room, Billy gave it a try, hoping to make the young boy cry. He made the creepiest buzzing sound till the boy woke up frightened and looking around. Doesn't look very scary, does he? "Mom, come quick, a monster's in here." "Really?" she said. "That's not true, my dear. Monsters aren't real. You don't have to scream. I'm sure that you just had a terrible dream." Do you see the monster hiding? When Mom was around, Billy knew he must hide, so he ran from the room and waited outside. He peeked in the mirror that stood in the hall, and he looked slightly bigger. Yes, not quite as small. Ooh, Billy's growing. Billy was thrilled he was bigger at last, so he stayed up all night just having a blast, planning the next time that he'd scare the boy, and the look on his face he was sure to enjoy. Looks a little scarier in this picture. The next day, Billy crept under the sheet, reached down below to tickle his feet. He started to scream, and his face turned so red, kicked with both legs, almost wetting the bed. "Mom, come quickly! It's grabbing my toes!" Now, monsters aren't real, as everyone knows. His mom shook her head. "It's not what it seems. I'm sure you're still having those terrible dreams." Billy was happy, just bursting with joy, thinking of how he would next scare the boy. And when that night he stepped into the hall, in the mirror he saw he was even less small. The next day after the boy dimmed the light, Billy tried spooking him, gave him a fright, with shadows so scary on the wall of his room, till Mom rushed in and banished the gloom. Ooh, look at that scary shadow. "Amazing!" cried Billy. "Just look how he scares. Look at his goosebumps and those prickly hairs." And when he stepped out, he got a huge thrill to see that his body had grown bigger still. Look how big he is now. Whoa. Billy grew proud of his scaring power, spooking the boy at any late hour. All of those screams were a most scrumptious treat, more filling than any food he might eat. He's saying, "Boo! Boo!" As Billy grew bigger, he filled up the place, taking up almost all the free space. With his new size, he just whistled or clapped to make the boy jump up like he had been zapped. But Mom really worried about her young son. She knew that the scares were simply no fun. She went to the library, searched for a book, Get Rid of Monsters, and then took a look. Right away as she read, Mom figured it out, that Billy would grow with each shriek, every shout. My son, she said, I think that you'll find that he'll shrink down if you pay him no mind. So she's telling the little boy that if he doesn't get scared and he doesn't think about the monster, he ignores the monster can't get any bigger. Fine, said the boy, no scaring for me. I'm not going to shriek and I won't try to flee. Next time that monster comes to my bed, I won't scream aloud. I'll ignore him instead. That night when Billy crept under the sheet, trying to tickle the little boy's feet, the boy laughed and then fell asleep. And Billy, so shocked, almost wanted to weep. Look, Billy's trying to scare him, and the boy's just laughing. Sad and discouraged, he peeked at his size, and there, indeed, to Billy's surprise, he was smaller again, not nearly so grand. Things were not going quite as he planned. Now he's getting smaller again. The next night he cast shadows up on the wall, but the boy only giggled, not scary at all. Billy ran out, for it just wasn't fair. All I want is to give that boy a big scare. He's laughing at the shadow instead of being scared of it. Now Billy felt nothing but sadness inside. He really was shrinking. He wanted to hide. He felt so exhausted, perhaps he should leave, for he had no more tricks up his sleeve. Billy had shrunk. He could barely be seen, not nearly as huge as he had once been. He leaped on the bed, screeched on, but the boy didn't notice, just gave a great yawn. That does it! Poor Billy gave one last shriek. That came out sounding more like a squeak. I'm leaving before I vanish for good. This home is not working out like it should. Now, lest you feel worried about Billy's fate, never fear, he's a monster. I'm sure he'll do great. He just left to seek out a new kid to scare, hoping to find a real coward somewhere. But if you see a monster, now you will know that screaming and hollering just make it grow. So think of a joke. Laugh as loud as you can. If you don't feed the monster, you'll ruin his plan. Just know any monster you happen to find is really made up. He just lives in your mind. So he's not real, he's just in your mind, in your imagination. And if you don't get scared, the monster can't get any bigger. Good night. The end.